Welcome to the last and final part of me refinishing an almost 100-year-old cedar chest. And I'm finishing it off by finishing the lid of the chest. This is the one that I was most nervous about refinishing because with it being the top of the chest, it is the most featured thing that you're going to see and I didn't want to ruin it. So I started off with doing an oil-based pre-stain conditioner. Considering the fact that the wood is almost 100 years old, I didn't want to go into any blotchiness, as I had read that mahoganies can get pretty blotchy with how much grain is in them. So I wanted to avoid that. After letting that dry, I went in with the actual stain. I decided to go with Early American because I wanted the wood to have some sort of dark color instead of just pulling too much red. I was trying to avoid as much red as possible. I ended up having to do a couple coats of stain on the lid because I had to replace some of the old damaged veneer with newer veneer. And unfortunately, the old wood versus the new wood did not look the same when it came to the stain. So I had to apply a couple coats and that took a couple days just to do. In the meantime, I ended up taking a shellac to the bottom portion of the chest. At this point in time, it has been a full week since I stained the bottom portion of the chest, so everything should be fully cured by now. I was loving how beautiful this wood was turning out now that I was putting the shellac on top of it. The stain brought out some intense color, but once the shellac came into effect, it was turning beautiful. And then a couple days later, I ended up taking some tung oil to the very back portions of the chest, as well as inside the middle. Felt it needed some sort of moisturizing and protection, and the wood was gorgeous. Once I had finished staining the lid, I ended up taking a shellac to that about a week after it had fully cured. This time, instead of using a brush, I had to use a cloth as I had run out of brushes. I was trying to avoid as much runs as possible on the top of the lid because I noticed on the side of the chest I had a couple runs just from the brush. They're not horribly noticeable, but I noticed them. And then putting everything back together, I ended up scraping the top of my fingers. So that felt beautiful. It took me a couple hours just to put everything back together because even though I took pictures of everything, I forgot how to put it back together. But seeing this chest put fully back together, oh my gosh. The camera does not do it justice with how gorgeous this wood grain is. It took me over a month to do this, but it was well worth the process.